So Hannu, Stora Enso then works towards the Sustainable Development Goals, as of course do many or most large corporations these days. And one that I think is very relevant for manufacturing industry is Goal 12, which is about sustainable production and consumption. And it's all very much, as you know, about doing more and doing better with less. So what do you see of the role of innovation in working towards that particular goal?
It's a very good question and very close to our hearts. And if I start from the beginning of the value chain where we have the forests, and obviously we are managing the forests very, very responsible way. We have the forest laws in the Nordic countries where we have the vast majority of our wood baskets. So basically whenever you cut the tree, you have to replace it by planting a tree, and we effectively replace about 3 trees on average for every tree we cut. And then the growing forests are the best ones because they are obviously acting as a carbon sink. And over the last 100 years, for example, I think the forest reserves in Sweden have doubled. And it's very important to remember that the way we manage the forest or our stakeholders are managing it, it is based on the fact that there is a continuous growth. Then when you come to the production, our mills, obviously in the old days they had pollutive issues, but the environmental footprint has improved tremendously. So whether it's the emissions to the water, to the air, they are minimum, and every time when we are investing, we are making sure that the emissions are getting more and more limited. Good area is to identify is the way we run our power plants, and the coal-fired power plants are becoming more and more rare, and we are replacing them with bioenergy. So I'd say that that's an forever ongoing area that we look into our production footprint, and we measure that very systematically. And I think our goal is obviously to become a CO2 neutral in all of the mills in a certain time period. We have mills which are already fulfilling this, and we see that this is the way to make yourself much more sustainable. The same applies to supply chain. We have to carefully then monitor that how do you reduce the emissions, etc. So I'd say that's very, very high on our agenda.
Mm. And what about Tetra Pak then, Anke, with when it comes to sustainable production? What sort of, how far have you come in those efforts at Tetra Pak?
I think I can fully support what Hannu is saying in the value proposition that we have at hand here. We actually are aiming towards being able to close the loop as much as possible. So the next challenge on top of what Hannu described is obviously using recycled fibers then also in our packaging, which today we are not able to do because of very high food safety standards, which is the other balance we need to strive. But that's one of the things, obviously, that we are very ambitious about. When it comes to the sustainable production overall, we have done tremendous progress also on SDG 13, climate action. We have set ourselves very early on very ambitious target in terms of greenhouse gas emissions reduction, made tremendous progress, and have just updated again our science-based targets with a commitment to reduce the Scope 3 emissions included by 46%, so for the total value chain, and this by 2030. Of course, we are aiming towards net zero. At the same time, trying to achieve the 1.5 degree target. And in order to get there, we actually do need our partners, including Stora Enso. It's a huge effort to take it further and to really make sure we are living up to the SDG commitments.